So last time we left off with just setting up our stat menu widget controller class, and where we have set our data attribute data asset. And if we recall what's in there, that is um, our asset that combines or uh, associates our attribute tags from our gameplay system to our attribute set getter, so that we know that one can control the other. And it gives us a spot to easily change or modify our attribute name and description for our specific display within our stat menu, or anywhere that we're showing off our information. So to get this starting to be updated, so let's see what we need to do that. Um, Maybe we start with just getting it up on the screen. So let's look at this button here, and just going to make sure that I'm getting this in a proper way here. Yeah, so it's set as a variable. That's good. So if we go into the graph for our overlay, and what we want to do is do something about that button. And on our construct event, not our pre-construct, but our event construct, let's get our stat menu button and drag it out here. And on it, what I want to do, I want to get the button that it's based off of, and then I want to bind the click event on it. So I'm going to say on clicked. I'm going to assign on clicked, so I get a automatic event created. We're going to connect that into here. And what I want it to do from there is I'm going to create a custom event just to keep things a little bit cleaner. So I'm going to make a custom event, and I'm going to call it our stat menu button clicked. Okay, so stat menu button clicked. And I'm going to grab our menu button out here. And when we click the button, we don't want to be able to click it again while when our main overlay is, or our stat menu is up. So we want to disable it to start. So let's get the button again. And off of that, we can set is enabled, and we're going to make that false. And then we want to create the widget. So I'm going to come off of here, and I'm going to go create widget. And it's going to want a class. And we want to create our WBP stat menu. It needs a it needs a player controller. So we can just come here and go get player controller. Player index 0 is the local user. And that's going to output us a value of the thing. So we can just promote this to a variable. And I'm going to call this our stat widget. Call it, yeah. And then off of it, it has a button on it. So let's take a look at it. No, not that one. Stat menu. So it has a button on it which we haven't renamed. We should rename that as let's call it. Let's rename this to our stat menu close button. And let's make that a variable. So we'll compile and save that. Go back to our graph here. And coming off of this, I should be able to, if I go stat menu close button. Okay, so it looks like we never did ever set up any of those events on our stat menu. So far, we just have we just put all of the controls on here, but we didn't do much with it. So let's do some of that graph work here. So we're going to need we need to set up its widget controller. We want to get the initial values for it, and we want to bind our events to the clicked event for those buttons, for that close button. So let's do that. So I'm going to pull off of the event construct and do a sequence. And the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to right click here and I'm going to get our stat menu widget controller. We're using our blueprint library there. And so we need a reference to ourself to give it a world context object. And then from there, we can come off of here and we can set the widget controller. Okay, so I can do that. And from here as well, we should be able to call our broadcast initial values. Okay. So then if I grab our close button, if I find it here, let's go back to our designer. Stat menu close button should be there somewhere. There it is. It's highlighted right in front of my nose. And if I get that, then what we want to do is we're going to get the button. And off of it, we are going to get the on clicked. We're going to assign an on clicked to it. I'm going to come off our sequence, so that one will be set. And just find that one. And then just because we might end up wanting to call this from another place or something. I'm going to make a custom event here. And I'm going to call it close button. And from here, then we can call close button. And off of close button, we're going to remove the widget from the parent. which basically says it's going to, it'll disable from the screen viewport, and then it's going to get garbage collected, if I understand that correctly. And when that garbage collection happens, there is a, if I right click, there's a destruct, event destruct that will get called after this gets fired. And then we're going to want to do is when this control, when this menu closes on our overlay, we want this button that we've disabled when after we've pressed it, we want it to respond when the other one is closed to become enabled again. And to be able to do that in our stat menu, what we are going to do is we're going to create a event dispatcher. So we click plus on that, and I'm going to give that a name of, I'm going to give it a name of call stat menu closed. And now I can drag that out here and call it. I guess I shouldn't. Let me just rename that. This is called stat menu called. I thought this call was part of the name. Never mind. Call stat menu called, or closed, I should say. So then on the destruct event, we can call this, and so that will happen, right? So we will have closed it, we removed it from the parent, and it will get called to that it was closed. And then on our overlay graph here, and this is where we were stuck, was that we need to now, if I come off of here, I should be able to stat menu closed, and I can want to bind event to stat menu closed, assign bind event to stat menu closed. Yeah, so I can just drag off of this event, and I should be able to just add event, add custom event, and we can call it stat menu closed event. And I think that works. And here, off of here, then we can grab our stat menu button, and we get the button base out of it, and we can re-enable it. So we can go set is enabled, and we can plug that into there, and we can say true. Okay. So I wonder if we've got enough here to actually be able to show it and close it. So let's push play, and if I click it, well, it doesn't do anything. Okay. Yes. Why didn't it click and do anything? Did I not finish what I needed to do here? We did the click event. Oh, did I? No, that's the stat menu. The overlay, event construct. Oh, I didn't I didn't make this connect to anything. I want it to call from here, stat menu button clicked. So that will call this, and that should connect us. So let's try it now. And click. Oh, well, it disabled. We didn't show up on our viewport anywhere. So let's close that and find out what happened there. Maybe we need to set it somewhere on or we didn't actually add it to the viewport here. We created it. We didn't add it to the viewport. Silly me. So if I come off of here and go add to viewport, and if I add our attribute widget or our stat widget and plug that into there, so we add that in because that's what we that's what we promoted to a variable. So that's what we wanted to add to viewport. Let's see where it shows up if we do that. And run and click. Oh, hey, look at that. Showed up, everything's there. It's not filled in yet, but at least we got it. And if we look at that, we even get our mousey over changes here. And if I close that, it comes back and this is re-enabled and this is disabled here. So maybe we want to get this kind of centered on screen. And so to do that, let's close this and let's come off of here and we'll do set position in viewport. These over here. And the target is going to be our stat widget. Paste that back here. And what do we got? We got a position. Yeah, I don't know the best way to do that. I'd like to be somehow relative to the screen. I'm going to move it over 100 by 100 for now. Maybe we'll come up with a better way to do that. And let's just see what that looks like anyways. Okay, well, that's not too bad. It's not great because it's depending on the resolution. Like if I change this, see it doesn't, I guess it starts to shrink there, but it's not so great, right? But at least we got it. That's a start. And I'm going to pick this up in another video. And we'll get these then filling in. Oh, good. All our little buttons here are clickable. That's cool. And excellent. Yep. So next step is to get our stat menu responding to values and such. Thanks a lot. Tag on it. Okay. So here we are. We've got our stat widget being placed in our viewport, right? And we go push play and we open it up and there they are, right? And we can close it off and everybody's happy. So what I'd like to be able to do is easily center it into the viewport. And one thing I'm going to do first is I'm going to add a background color to this whole thing so that we can see its extents. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add an image. And I'm going to drag that in on top of our overlay. And it's going to put it down here at the bottom. And we're going to try something here. So I'm going to go and change its color. I'm going to, well, first of all, I'm going to bring its opacity down to, say, 30% or something like that. And we'll give it some sort of blue. bluey purple color, and I'm going to make it fill horizontally and vertically. Now, the interesting part is that it's filling in over this button, and that's what I kind of want to just bring to mention here. So I'm going to compile and save. We're going to go back into here and push play, and we're going to open it, and there we got it. But I can't click this button. Okay, so two ways to fix that, I believe. One is in here. If I select the image that we just dragged in, and under visibility, it's visible. That's great. And if we just say it's not hit testable, in other words, it's not going to register a click. It's just a background image, right? So let's try that and come in here and push play. Go player stats, and now we can click our button. So that's one way. But you notice that the red is a little bit duller because it's got this purple on top of it, right? All of our, in fact, even our bright white letters aren't bright white anymore. So what we need to do there is grab our image and drag it up, and I'm going to put it just underneath the overlay. So it's underneath everything. Now everything looks bright and really more brilliant, right? And now this hit testable thing doesn't matter if I can leave it back to visible. And if we compile and save and go in here and push play and open our thing, everything looks brighter and happier, and we can click our button. So that's the first step. Now on our overlay, that's where we're adding it. If I look at the designer for it, odd thing happening here, and I'm not sure what's going on. If I drag that control in and put it on my canvas panel, it's kind of goofy. I don't know. I don't know why it's doing that, but if I wanted to anchor it into the center and I zeroed off all of its location stuff, and I look at these alignments and I go 0.5 and 0.5, well, it's just doing it for this little box, and I don't understand what's going on with that. Right? Like I don't know why this didn't size up for the controls that are within it. And it might be because the like it's 1400 by 600 or something like that. I know when we first built it, we had set sizes to it. And if I zero out those position X, position Y's, those are offsets from the center. So that would look good there. So that's supposed to have been what's happening, because I did make another change on our stat menu. So, but looking at this with size X, size Y of 1400 and 600, so we'll reset that with our anchor set at the center point, right? And if I drop that open, we see the minimum is 0.5, 0.5, and max is 0.5, 0.5. Our alignment was 0.5, 0.5. So that's bringing everything squared and centered. Okay. So I can delete this now. We don't actually want it there, right? We're going to add it there. And I'm going to go back to my graph, and off of our stat widget, I'm going to drag, and I'm going to go set anchors in viewport. And I'm going to come off this anchor button. I'm going to say make anchors. And these are those min and max numbers. Those are for the center. So it's 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, right? So that's going to get us into the center. This position in viewport we're not going to use anymore. So I'm going to get rid of that. And so I'm going to plug that one in. And that's our stat widget. So I'm going to, I'll use another version of it. So I can bring that here, grab this, put it there. And then what we want to do is set the alignment of our widget. So I'm going to copy this, paste it here. And I'm going to set alignment in viewport. And so this was the kind of the 0.5x, 0.5y of its overall size. So half x and half y. And if I compile and save that, and we've added to the viewport now, and we don't have it, it's not in our box here. If I go in here, I push play and I go player stats. Now we're nice and centered. And it stays nice and centered. If the screen was a different size and shape, it stays in the middle. So that's good, and we can close it. So that's one cleanup that I wanted to do there. And so the next thing, let me just put that back up here just because it's fun. So now each one of these rows, right? When we created our function for our template here, we were going through them one by one in a loop to fill that up. Where was that? That was in our start menu widget controller CPP. So we bound the callbacks one by one, and we broadcast them. No, we broadcast them. We broadcast the initial values, and we're going through a loop based off a tag, right? For each one of those items that are in our attribute information, which is in our data set, right? Which is in the data set that this is calls from. So what we need is a tag. This control, if it had a tag on it, so it could read the tag, then it would be able to mesh into our data attribute, right? So we need to give it these attribute tags to each of our table rows there. So if I look at our, well, I can stop running this here. If I look at our generic table row, it has the text value and sometimes it has a button. But in this component is where I want to add a variable for the attribute tag. So I'm going to go into our graph and I'm going to make a variable and I'm going to call it an attribute tag. And it's going to be a type gameplay tag. Gameplay tag. Okay. And I'm going to compile and save that. And now the neat thing is we go to our where it is, our stat menu. So now each one of these items, if I search for it in its properties for tag, oh, compile, save. We need to in our text value row here for our attribute tag, we need to expose it, make it public, and instance editable as a result. So now if we go to our stat menu and I select this, and if I look for my tag, I got an attribute tag. So this first one would be our health. So if I set this to a vital health, right? And then the next one is going to be our stamina. So I'm going to say stamina. And this one, I want it to be my mana. Primary attributes. Let's go into our primary. I'd like to see strength at the top. And then this one can be strength, intelligence. And then I like to see dexterity. And then I want to see wisdom. Yeah, let's do wisdom. And then we can do maybe Constitution. And then we'll do Charisma. Okay, I'm going to compile and save. I don't think that changes anything yet. I think we haven't tied anything into it, but I'm always game to click a button, see if any part of it works. And of course, none. Good. Kind of happy none worked because that would have been very magical. Let's continue setting these though. Secondary attributes. Don't know if I have a preference here. Maybe physical defense at the top. And then I think not that it matters. Let's go health regen. We'll go stamina or health regen and then max health. And then we can go stamina regen. And then we'll go max stamina. And then we can go mana regen. And then we can go max mana. What else do we got? Let's go with speed and willpower and perception and influence. And this one we don't have anything for. This is just sitting here as a placeholder for other things. And maybe these aren't attributes, maybe these are just accomplishments or something like that, some other measure, but that's just a placeholder. Okay, I'm going to compile and save. And then going from here then, I need to rethink what I need to do now. So that was one thing I had to do. And yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, so we've given them all attributes, right? So if we go back to our text value row, right? This is the row that is the basis for all of our data on that, and go into the graph for it. What we want to do is on the event construct, we want to bind the information delegate to our widget controller, or vice versa. So let's start by let's get the stat menu widget controller, right? And we're going to connect that to self. And off of here, we want to bind event to stat info delegate. So we're going to create that. And I'm going to come off of that and create a new event, a custom event. And well, I can call it, there's another way to do this. Let me just do that the other way. I like it better. I'm going to right click and go and look for my stat menu. Get stat menu. Oh no, I want to come off of here. Stat menu. No. Bind event. Assign stat info delegate. That's the one, because then it automatically creates me my my custom event. That's right. I'm late. I'm that lazy. I always like because it always says bind, but then you never remember to that is actually a sign so that it creates it automatically. So here's our little info thing. So if we came off of it and we could break that and expand it. So here's our tag and attribute name and description and our getter and all that good information in there. And if I grab this attribute tag that's over here, if I get that, and if I get this attribute tag that's in the information, and I want to see if it matches this tag that's on this specific one, right? And I want an exact match for that. And so if that's true, so I'm going to go to a branch, right? We'll connect into that branch. So if that's true, we want to do some stuff. And one of the things that we want to do, it's, I need to set some things here. So if we go back to our designer here and zoom in, and this box here, our text row title, we want that to be variable, so it's open to us on the other side. And we want to be able to change this attribute value. So we'll make that variable. And I think that's all we need to do. Compile, let's save that and go back to my graph. And if I grab my messing things up. So I want to get my text row title, and off of it, I want to set text, right? And so I'm going to want to set the text of my text row title. What do I want to set it to? I want to set it to this attribute name. That's where we defined it. Oops. Okay. Let me just move this around a little bit. Okay. So we want to do that. And then we want to um, set our attribute value as well. So that was um, our WBP attribute value, right? So I grab that, bring it out, get that, and off of that, that's got a subcontrol and it has a text. We want to get the text value of that, and that's where we want to set the text of that. So we want to set the text of that. So that's the next thing we want to do. And what do we want to set it to? We want to set it to our value. Now it's going to throw in a ipso facto change node for us, which is great. And I think that's the last thing that we really want to do. Oh, we can set our attribute description to a tooltip that's off of our text row title. So I'm going to copy this, paste it here, and off of this, I want to set the tooltip. I'm going to set the tooltip. I'm going to plug that in there, and the tooltip is going to be our attribute description. Is it? Nope. I've got this connected in the wrong button. I got the wrong set here. Text row title. Set tool tip text. That's one. This one I want. I'm going to plug that one in. And I'm going to get this description. And I'll put it in there. And we'll just straighten out a line here. Move these up in here. Okay, let's see if that let's see if that's what it all that it needed. Let's go back in here, open this up and play. Well, how about that? Physical defense, health regen, maximum health, stamina regen, maximum speed, willpower, perception, influence, and all of our different values and all of our strengths and stuff and our health and stamina, mana maximums or our current vital stats, right? Because our maximum mana is 162 and our mana here is 162, right? Isn't that neat? Now, one thing I want to try. So now this is where I think this works really cool, is if I go into this stat menu and you said, well, I want stamina to be here. So I could go just change this and go to um, vital, and it's going to be the stamina. And this one was stamina, and I want that one to be the mana, right? So now it's health, mana, stamina. And I compile and save. And I go in here and I push play. And what do we get? Health, mana, stamina. That's pretty cool. Okay, so we've got that populating. Um, and these values, while these don't do anything yet, that's something that we need to hook up. And so we can do that next time maybe. And after that, we'll look at getting into our template some of the basic um, gameplay events and abilities to make these numbers, oh, excuse me, to make these numbers change. You know, like if you're getting walking into a pile of fire, you know, this value should be going down, and our hit bar should be going down. So we'll get some of that basic workings in next. Thanks a lot. Uh, like, subscribe. We're getting almost there, and this is going to be awesome because as you go on and do other courses, we're going to have a great base here. And as you learn different tricks and different ideas of different things, you can either modify your template or add things to it. And looking forward to definitely starting a new project a lot simpler. Thanks for coming out. Have a good day.